The origins of curling are unknown, but the first written evidence of the sport was in Scotland, and a reference in Latin to a contest with stones thrown upon ice. At Paisley Abbey in Renfrewshire in 1541, a monk played the form of a game with a relative of the abbot. One of the oldest clubs in the world is Kinross Curling Club, which has roots going back to 1668 and possibly even earlier.
The monks travelled all over Scotland, and if you look into the records of some of the older clubs, they started around near monasteries. In the country, in the winter time, if everything's frozen up, the farmers can't do very much work, so they would take time off to curl.
And as soon as they can get the sheep safely penned and counted, they'll hie them to the roaring game on the nearest bit of ice.
It would be a village, a local area, and when their local loch or pond froze, the word would get round and they would all congregate there in the evenings. The whole estates stopped, and the laird of the estate would skip the rink, and the workers would play further down the rink to him.
Oh, I ken this place fine, Carts Break and Perthshire. Man, before the war there was always the annual bonspiel here, given the weather, that is.
Lochs could take up to a week to freeze, but when they did, thousands of folk would flock to the likes of Loch Leven in Kinross.
You can imagine that, all covered in ice, and all these curlers. It's an entirely different noise when you hear curling stones on real ice compared with an ice rink. There's a rumble, and the noise is like thunder really when they're all.
John Kearney was a pioneer of the artificial curling rink. Kearney Ponds, artificial ponds with level surfaces flooded with a few inches of water and frozen over. And this ensured curling continued to prosper through the 1800s.
One of my colleagues in Edinburgh has found about 2,000 places where they used to curl at one time or another. Ponds, or they would dam places, and they also managed to tarmac areas and concrete areas, and then just a small amount of water on a frosty night you could curl.
The first rules of curling were adopted by the Grand Caledonian Curling Club, which was formed in Edinburgh and became the sport's governing body. It became the Royal Caledonian Curling Club after a demonstration of curling fascinated Queen Victoria at Scone Palace in 1843. Curling changed with the ability to freeze ice indoors. Rinks opened at Crossmaloof in Glasgow in 1907 and at Haymarket in Edinburgh in 1912.
People would take off to Glasgow and Edinburgh from all over the country and spend the day in the ice rink and travel home by night in train.
Scots took the game wherever they travelled, and it was exported wherever Scots settled around the world in cold climates. Since the 1930s, the outdoor game has declined, and even in colder places like Switzerland, Canada and Scandinavia, most curling is now indoors. The roar and the rumble is different, but the sportsmanship and passion for the sport remains.